conversation tomorrow from 6 to 7:30. We've got these little flyers with the room number and whatnot. They'll be up on the back table. But now I would like to introduce Mr. Kambale Musavuli, a Congolese activist, student coordinator, and spokesperson for the Friends of the Congo. He has written for the Washington Post, and Bazooka News, The Root, and other numerous online publications. He has been interviewed on National Public Radio, Democracy Now!, BBC, Al Jazeera, Radio France International, and a myriad of other radio and television programs around the world. He has toured the United States, speaking to university students, religious groups, community organizers, and many others in an effort to mobilize support for the people of the Congo. Musavuli's ultimate aim is to mobilize the global community to help bring an end to the conflict in the Congo and to provide support to the people of the Congo as they strive to control their enormous natural wealth and build lasting peace and stability in the heart of Africa. So thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. Oh, let me try it again. I'm in Michigan. Good evening, everyone. Good. This is what I told you. This is where I am. I don't know if I'm kind of right, but supposedly it's here and Detroit is here. So for some reason, there was some interesting thing that happened at the airport whereby the plane that had content from my country and the cobalt that comes from the Congo was somehow delayed. I made sure that I wasn't here on time. So we will blame it on the minerals that's also causing the exportation, but yet it's used in the plan that helped me get here. So you see those two things that I see sometimes as a yin-yang. There is a positive and a negative thing. Wow, some of the resources within the Congo are causing so much desolation, but we use that on a daily basis. So before I start with my presentation, I wanted to share with you what Congolese youth children know and how they understand the situation in the Congo. They understand in a very basic way, and it moved me to actually hear them explain what is happening in the Congo. So I want to share with you a video before I start the presentation. Well, you could hear what young Congolese believe the conflict is about. They understand very simply. They're not speaking about ethnic conflict. They are not giving you even the names of the so-called rebel leaders. They're simply telling you that they want the resources of the Congo. So they will use any tool at their disposal to do it. I was speaking to an Irish American, actually. He's an Irish citizen, not actually an Irish American. And he grew up in Ireland, and he went to Rwanda in 1993 as an anthropologist. He was fascinated by Rwanda at the time because of the ethnic division that existed during the time, and he wanted to relate that to what is happening in Ireland. And in his PhD study, he found out that it was so similar, even though in Ireland it's called a religious fight between the Catholic and the Protestant, that the division that existed within this country, in Ireland, was so similar with the divisions there. And for his analysis of what happened was it's all about power. And he's telling me, if to achieve power you need to use religion, that's what you will use. If you need to use ethnic division, that's what you will use. So it's about power and control. And in the case of the Congo, it's really a resource war. So I will try to, you've seen the video, the Congo team miner, to give you a context of what we call conflict minerals, to understand how the minerals get out of the ground, then find its way here. But it's not the full story. To help the Congo, I believe that you need to understand what the struggle of the Congo is. If you're only looking at the symptoms of the conflict, which we look at the conflict minerals as a symptom of the conflict, you will not be able to end the conflict. The best analogy to look at it is, let's say I have cancer today, and for a week I didn't drink water. So because of the not having water into my body, I start having headaches. So I go to the doctor, and I share with him. I say, well, I feel like I have cancer, but for some reason I have this headache that can't get away. So the doctor tells me, well, go home and take some Tylenol. Do you believe that by taking the Tylenol, the cancer will go away? No. But what it will do is, the headache will go away. So the symptom caused by something else, right, will go away. But the real root cause of why I'm sick will stay. And that's the challenge of the Congo. You hear about the atrocities. So let me tell you the Congo I remember. I was born there in 1998. Beautiful, I'm sorry. I'm already old, I'm forgetting. That's when I came here. I was born in 1981. I came to the US in 1998. And beautiful country, beautiful country. 70 million people live on that land. 200 ethnic groups. So I look at the Congo as an example of ethnic collaboration. Can you imagine people who live in that land, who never consider themselves as Congolese, but because of Berlin Conference came together as a nation, have to live there for centuries. So that's the example that I see around the African continent, of a country with many different faces, just like the United States. But people are live there together. Second largest rainforest in the world, so which means that Congo is essential to the fight against climate change. So if you've been watching Cancun or Copenhagen, you should be paying attention about what's happening in the Congo forest. One thing you will know about my presentation is I like to throw names, and I hope that you will remember those names and research them after this. So Elwin Blattner, an American businessman who lives in New Jersey, is responsible for a lot of illegal logging within the Congo, so you should look him up. So if you care about climate change, you should look up what Elwin Blattner is doing in the Congo as well. He's blessed with every known metal in the world. I look at the Congo as the periodic table of the world. So anybody loves chemistry in this room? Oh yes, I like that. So if you love chemistry, you should care about the Congo, because everything on the periodic table is in the Congo. Coltan, zinc, coltan, they call it tantalum. Uranium, it's in the Congo. Every known metal is found there. And the value of the resource that exists on that land is estimated at $24 trillion. How much is the US budget again? 1 trillion, all right? So Congo's wealth is estimated at $24 trillion, which is equivalent to the United States and Europe GNP combined. So how is it possible that the Congolese live at less than $1 a day? So there is something that is not right about how people who are blessed with all these resources still don't benefit from it. Other thing that you should know, bordered by 9 other African countries, right in the center of the African continent. So I said it quickly, I'll put that in context. A country the size of Western Europe, right in the center of the continent, bordered by 9 other countries. That means whatever happens in the Congo affects the other 9 other African countries faster. And I do believe that if Congo is not free, Africa can develop. I really believe that because of all the blessings that it has. The Congo River that have the capacity to provide electricity to the whole continent of Africa. Yet, we're not using it for the benefit of the people. And of course, East Arab lands can produce food for 9 billion people, which means it can feed the whole world population until 2050, when the world's population is 9 billion people. But only less than 5% of East Arab land is being used. So I wanted to throw some facts to you because you don't get to hear that. What you hear usually about Congo is the conflict. And for those of you who just learned it, you should know that that's a land that has a large history. Now, little history lesson. And I felt the need to have this explanation for you to understand why Congo is the way it is today. It hurts me as a Congolese whenever I read the news and I see that my country, this is the country I was born and raised, that be the worst place to be a woman. And my grandmother is in Congo. My aunts are in Congo. You know, my family members are still in the Congo. Most of them, of course, you know, my close family is here in the U.S., fortunately. You know, as an American, you know, if you think for a second, if your country was the worst place to be a woman, how would you feel? You would fight every day to change it. You know, you would fight to share what are the challenges. Why Congo is where it is today? Because you're seeing the effect of 125 years of exploitation. So if you're only looking at it today, you will not see what has caused that. So what has caused the Congo to be where it is today? It started in 1885, the Berlin Conference, whenever the African continent was carved. By the way, the Berlin Conference wasn't called the Berlin Conference. It was called the Congo Conference. So the European nations sat down in 1885 to carve out Africa. They needed to know what they needed to do about this huge land the size of Europe that have all these resources. And every one of those European nations at the Berlin Conference, they all wanted a piece of the Congo. So they were fighting over it. France wanted it. Great Britain wanted it. Everyone wanted a piece of the Congo. Well, there was a guy who helped finance the exploration of Africa. His name is Leopold II, the guy with the beard. And he proposed to the European nations. He said, well, if you give me this land, all of you will have access to it. So I will be the sole CEO of this land as long as this is my real estate. You want to get copper, come and get it. You want to take zinc, come and get it. But no, I will help facilitate that, and they won't be tied to any other government. So why am I pointing that out? During the Berlin Conference, Congo was given to a man. Not the government, but the land of the size of Western Europe was given to one man as the sole CEO of that land. Under his rule, there were resources being exploited, rubber and agri-tusk, but mainly rubber. Wild rubber at the time. There was a boom in the car industry, so you needed that for the tires of the cars, and you needed the rubber also for the tires of the bicycle. Where was it coming from? The Congo. How many people died during the exploitation? 10 million people died. Now, right now we are talking about 6 million people. 100 years ago, 10 million people died in the Congo due to the exploitation of resources again. Everybody was trying to find who is responsible for the deaths of 10 million Congolese. They were all saying, I'm not chopping off their heads. That's what was happening there. Congolese, their heads were being cut off if they did not, at the end of the day, bring enough rubber to the colonial powers at the time. And you say, well, I'm not in Congo. I don't have enough chopping off their hands. I'm not beating them. They're dying by themselves. Actually, there were arguments during that time saying that they were dying of diseases. And you know who helped the Congolese? Strangely enough, it took Americans to raise their voice back then. So, a few names. George Washington Williams, an African-American Civil War veteran. Here's what's happening in the Congo. Travels to the Congo himself, and he sees the deaths of millions. And he was outraged that the United States government was supporting Leopold at the time. There were American businessmen already dealing with him. The Rockefellers had deals to build the railroad. The Rothschilds already had deals with him. So I said, we cannot have this. So he sent a personal letter to the United States